695 Begga, ancestress of the Carolingians and saint, dies or 693. In 1187 Gregory Roman VIII Alberto de Morra, Italian Pope 1187, dies. In 1195 Baldwin V, Count of Hainaut B, 1150. In 1213 John of Matha, French Christian saint and founder of the Order of the Most Holy Trinity dedicated to ransoming Christians captured by North African marauders, dies at 53. In 1273 Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi, Persian poet, scholar, and mystic, dies at 66. In 1471 Isabella of Portugal, Duchess of Burgundy, dies at 74. In 1562 Adrian Willaert, Flemish singer, bandmaster, and composer, dies at about 82. In 1645 Nur Jahan, powerful Mughal Empress as consort and 20th wife to Emperor Jahangir, dies at 68, date uncertain. In 1651 Wolfgang Schonsleder, German composer Mr. Superlordate, and clergyman, dies at 81. In 1663 Nzinga Mbandi, Queen of Ndongo and Matamba Kingdoms 1626–1663 modern Angola, dies at about 82. In 1679 Don Juan, ruler of Spain, dies. In 1697 Eleonora Maria Josepha of Austria, Queen of Poland and Grand Duchess of Lithuania 1670–3, dies at 44. In 1711 Arnold Moonen, Dutch vicar, linguist Nederduitsche Spraekkunst, poet, and lexicographer, dies at 67. In 1721 Richard Lumley, 1st Earl of Scarbrough, English statesman b. 1640. In 1751 Kilian Ignaz Dientzenhofer, Czech Baroque architect, builder St. Nicholas Church, Prague, dies at 62. In 1811 John Antis, American composer and missionary, dies at 71. In 1811 Louis Abel Beffroy de Riegny, French dramatist and composer, dies at 54. In 1829 Bernard Jumentier, French composer, primarily of sacred music, dies at 80. Venezuelan political and military leader who freed 6 Latin American republics from Spanish rule, President of Colombia, 1819–30. President of Peru, 1824–27. President of Bolivia, 1825, dies of tuberculosis at 47. In 1833 Kaspar Hauser, German son of Grand Duke Karel of Bathe, who claimed to have grown up in the total isolation of a darkened cell, murdered at 21. In 1847 Marie-Louise of Austria, Duchess of Parma and second wife of Napoleon, dies at 56. In 1857 Francis Beaufort, Irish admiral, and hydrographer Beaufort Wind Force Scale, dies at 83. In 1860 Désirée Clary, French Queen of Sweden, and Norway 1818–44, consort of King Charles XIV John, dies at 83. In 1870 Saverio Mercadante, Italian composer, dies at 75. In 1872 Alfred Pollard Edward, American writer who advocated for secession and slavery, coined the phrase lost cause, dies at 41. American naval officer best known for sinking the CSS Albemarle during a daring nighttime raid on 27 October 1864, dies at 32. In 1881 Lewis H. Morgan, U.S. ethnologist Iroquois Indians, dies at 62. In 1891 Nsiri, ruler of the Garangans Kingdom, Congo Katanga, dies in battle against Belgian-funded expedition. In 1891 Omar Bodson, Belgian captain, dies in battle against Nsiri, ruler of Garangans Kingdom in the Congo. In 1892 George Brayton, American engineer who developed the Brayton cycle combustion engine, dies at 62. In 1893 Levinus Ticicinius, Dutchman of colonies 1888–90, dies at 71. In 1899 Frederick Freddie Roberts, son of British Field Marshal, dies in battle. First Baron Kelvin, Irish-Scottish mathematical physicist Kelvin scale and engineer transatlantic telegraph, dies of a chill at 83. King of the Belgians 1865–1909, sole owner of the Congo Free State 1885-1908, dies at 74 after a reign of exactly 44 years. In 1913, Stefano Gobati, Italian composer, dies at 61. In 1917, Elizabeth Garrett Anderson, first qualified woman physician in Britain, first woman mayor Aldeburgh, dies at 81. In 1917, Frank Gotch, American professional wrestler, dies at 40. In 1925, A.N. Hornby, English cricket batsman and captain, 3 tests, Lancashire CCC and Rugby Union utility back captain 9 tests, Lancashire CRFC, dies at 78. In 1926, Alexander Kostalsky, Russian composer, dies at 70. In 1927, Hubert Harrison, West Indian American writer and freedom fighter, dies at 44. In 1928, Eglantine Jebb, British humanitarian and founder of Save the Children, dies at 52. In 1930, Peter Walk Philip Heseltine, British composer, dies of a probable suicide at 36. In 1933, Hans Vaihinger, German philosopher site studies, dies at 81. In 1933, Thupten Gyatso, 13th Dalai Lama, dies at 57. In 1934, Edwin Binney, American inventor and businessman. Carbon Black, first dustless white chalk, Crayola crayon, dies at 68. In 1935, Lizette Woodworth Reese, American poet. Braj of May, Tears, dies at 79. In 1936, J. N. Finson, Icelandic-Canadian organist and composer. The Millennial Cantator, dies at 71. In 1940, Alicia Brulstott, Irish mathematician, dies at 80. In 1944, Pieter A. Rudenberg, student and resistance fighter, dies at 26. In 1946, Constance Gannett, English translator of Russian, first to translate Chekhov and Dostoevsky into English, dies at 84. In 1948, Edgar Istel, German composer, dies at 68. In 1949, David Stanley Smith, American composer. Marymount, dies at 72. In 1956, Eddie Acuff, American character actor. Guns of the Picos, Phantom Creeps, Outer Gate, Blondie Films, dies at 48. In 1957, Dorothea L. Sayers, English novelist. The Nine Tailors, dies at 66. In 1961, Marion Perkins, sculptor. Man of Sorrow, dies at 53. In 1962, Kaldheim, German sports executive. Gen Organizing Committee. 1936, Berlin Olympics, creator. Olympic torch relay, dies at 80. In 1962, Thomas Mitchell, American Academy Award-winning actor. Gone with the Wind, High Noon, dies of bone cancer at 70. In 1964, Victor Franz Hess, Austrian-born physicist, Nobel laureate. B. 1883. In 1965, Maria Teresa Vera, Cuban singer, guitarist and composer. Vaint ROS, dies at 70. In 1966, Gustav Paulsson, Swedish organist and composer. The Resurrection Symphony, dies at 68. In 1967, Barry Byon, American architect. Church of St.